Be really, really spicy, isn't it? And it's not going to be a guaranteed Verstappen, so that'll be a lot of fun come qualifying tomorrow afternoon. Terran Content asks, what does everyone think is the greatest race to happen on the Monza circuit? And describe it a little for a new race fan. So, Jolien, we'll start with you.
Well, you give me all of 2 seconds to think of the greatest race in the history of the Monza circuit. Well, I'll tell you my favourite one in terms of Formula One races is probably Sebastian Vettel winning in 2008 in a Toro Rosso. And this was, for me, one of the best underdog performances of the modern age in Formula One. The Toro Rosso, now AlphaTauri, and Vettel, who was just in his second full season of Formula One. Had he even done a full season the year before? I think he'd done half a season. And it was really wet for qualifying, put it on pole position. Lewis Hamilton struggled, Kimi Raikkonen struggled. They were the title challengers of Felipe Massa in the Ferraris. They were all at the back. And Vettel had Heikki Kovalainen and the McLaren on the front row alongside him. And he basically controlled the race. It was actually maybe not that much of a thriller, apart from you had the title challengers coming through. Hamilton, Massa, Raikkonen all fighting through for good points. I think Fernando Alonso in the Renault as well. But out front you just had Vettel, the youngster, without a race win, without a podium, and barely a good result, taking the win.
Charles is dropping, you can tell him to drop back further.
A shadow of the man he is now. He was a happy, young, jubilant young German, and winning for an Italian team in Monza.
Okay, Esteban, all good with time management, just a little bit on the edge with the slips at the exit of turn 2.
To be the 1971 race.
That was going to be mine.
Certainly wasn't watching it live. I was not very old at that point, but it's the closest finish in Formula One history, which Peter Gethin won, with a very small margin over about 5 cars in a slipstreaming classic. So that's probably the best. There was a one in the 60s, I can't remember exactly which year it was, where Jim Clark lost a lap, made an entire lap up on the entire field, and then suffered a problem towards the end of the race and didn't win when he should have done. And there was a great one in 1978 between Mario Andretti and Gilles Villeneuve when they both jumped the start, or at least were adjudged to have jumped the start, and they were in a complete league of their own for the entire afternoon and sort of diced for the lead throughout the race, but then were demoted afterwards.
There's time to do slow and push. Not sure if the tyre will do it. Thoughts?
No, I've already lost the race. I mean, if you've only got time to do another one, then I may as well.
Okay, so there is time for slow and then push.
Best, was it? I thought it was all right, but I think that for me sticks out. And we haven't spoken about qualifying, but the qualifying that Jolien rightly forgets in his memory, which was the wet qualifying in 17, where it just poured and poured and poured with rain, and we filled so much radio. It was just, we were interviewing all of the Game of Thrones stars, I think, because they happened to be there. And Lance Stroll did impressively well in the soaking wet. That was a good one.
The one I wish I was at, maybe not the greatest race of all time, I think it would have been amazing to be at the 1988 Italian Grand Prix, because Enzo Ferrari had died a couple of months earlier. Sort of Italy was in mourning. The McLarens were dominant and won every race that year except the Italian Grand Prix at Monza, where Ferrari got a 1-2. Gerhard Berger and, I've committed to this, Michele Alboreto were first and second, and the place kicked off. I would have loved to have been there that day in 1988, but yeah, I think that was it a great race? Who's to say? Schlesser hit Senna. Is that a thriller? Probably not. But like for atmosphere and everything, then that would have been my choice, I think.
Brings it full circle to mine. Was it a great race? Ultimately, pole man wins, unchallenged. But it's the underdog race. And that's what we don't. We've had one underdog victory in the last 10 years, Pastor Maldonado in the Williams, which is a similar sort of one. Maybe not a thriller, but it's great to see different teams fighting for a win. It happens once in a blue moon. We've had a few great podiums in the last 12 months. Be nice to have another surprise this weekend. With the pace we've seen today, two Mercedes look unstoppable. They take each other out, we've got an absolute thriller. And regardless, we should have a great fight for the podium because it just looks so close behind that.
So Hamilton ends the session quickest on a 1 minute 20.192. Bottas second on...
There's time to do slow and push. Not sure if the tyre will do it. Thoughts?
Now I've already lost the race. I mean, if you've only got time to do another one, then I may as well.
Okay, so there is time for slow and then push.
And it's actually Darren.
Okay, Esteban, all good with time management. Just a little bit on the edge with the slips at the exit of turn 2.
The car drivers came over.
I took the flag, I think.
No, keep pushing, keep pushing.
Was red, yo.
You can continue, go.
Oval and the road course. So you do a lap on the oval.
Carlos, we need one lap in scenario 7 with press and hold overtake. If you think that you need another lap before you have a go at Grosjean, then let's wait a lap, no overtake button this lap. Otherwise it's scenario 7 and 5 seconds press and hold overtake on start finish.
Copy, I'll wait one lap, I think.
The race.
So
It says cool the car, so I'll cool it a little bit.
Yeah.
That's right.
yeah, that's fine. You've got a 5-second gap to Magnussen behind.
He's looking more. Red Bull are going to be...
Okay, Kimi, can you try the overtake button on the pit straight, please?
mix here, I think. Albon is in... Okay.
The understeer field was in 9, then turn 10.
Don't look quite...
Yep, they're pretty consistent. Little bit of tag, both axles.
9th.
I've got shattering like crazy and then it's going all... It's a bit all over the place.
Speed is never...
Something feels a bit odd at the back of the car, it's like bouncing.
Okay, we are checking.
The rears very, very strange.
Place. Bernard Starr asks, anyone remember Monza 96 with the comedy tyre chicanes that took out half the field?
Okay, made that all look decent from our side.
Okay. Yep, felt alright.
That was it. Other way around. Hamilton quickest, Bottas second, both again by 0.2 of a second, but they've got such a huge advantage over the rest of the field of Mercedes, and that's going to be the fascinating thing tomorrow. The battle for third is going to be really tight. Red Bull not looking too strong. Verstappen only fifth, so it was Britain's Lando Norris in the McLaren that ended third quickest. He could be on for a very good day tomorrow in qualifying.
What a funny old session, that one, with Hamilton Bottas exactly where you would expect.